Bonsoir, Julien Besai. Good evening to you, televiewers. Thanks for joining us in this edition of the 8 p.m. bilingual newscast on Equinox Television. We'll be telling you how the network of human rights defenders in Central Africa, REDACT, have called for the immediate release of Professor Maurice Kamto and other supporters of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party. They say their arrest was illegal and in violation of international laws. We'll be telling you how all 157 persons on board the Ethiopian airline plane that crashed this Sunday have perished. The plane crashed. That was 6 minutes after it took off from the international airport. It was traveling from Addis Ababa to Nairobi.
Good evening once again.
Once more, good evening to you, Julien, and to our televiewers. Once more, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us for the second segment of the newscast. We begin with news out of the country. 157 persons on board the Ethiopian Airlines plane, Boeing 737, have perished. The crash occurred this morning. That was 6 minutes after takeoff. Courtesy.
Friends and families of those on board the crashed Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 among those waiting for news at the main airports in Nairobi and Addis Ababa. Just 6 minutes after takeoff from Bola International Airport in the Ethiopian capital, contact was lost with the Boeing 737. Ethiopia state media says none of the 157 passengers and crew survived.
So we were comfortable just waiting. We see people coming out. We were sure our relative was going to come out. After a few minutes, we saw
some news on Facebook and Twitter
just flying. Ethiopia Airlines crashes.
Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed tweeted the office of the PM on behalf of the government and people of Ethiopia would like to express its deepest condolences to the families of those that have lost their loved ones on Ethiopian Airlines Boeing 737 on regular scheduled flight to Nairobi, Kenya this morning. The jet had been delivered just 4 months ago. It's the fourth version of the world's best-selling airliner. The Boeing 737 has flown billions of passengers worldwide since the 1960s. The latest 737-800 MAX type has been redesigned to make it more fuel efficient. Thousands have been ordered by airlines worldwide.
If you have ever flown short haul, then I guarantee you've probably flown on a 737. It's a popular choice of the airlines. It's a very safe aircraft. But of course, there are now questions, and this will send jitters across the industry.
It's the second disaster within 5 months involving the Boeing 737 MAX. An identical Lion Air jet plunged into the sea off the coast of Indonesia last October, shortly after takeoff from Jakarta, killing all 189 people on board. Boeing is being sued by some of the relatives of passengers who died, and pilots have accused the American manufacturer of failing to warn them how to operate a new automated stall prevention system. Safety questions again are being asked about why 2 planes from the 737 family, which have had a good safety record for decades, should crash within just a few months of each other, and why so many lives have been lost again. Rob Matheson, Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera news agency reporting there on the Ethiopian airline plane that crashed early today. That was 6 minutes after I left the Addis Ababa International Airport to Nairobi. All 157 persons on board perished. And back here in Cameroon, former Minister of Defense Alain Edgar Bengo and 3 others will be spending their 3rd night at the Kundenge Maximum Security Prison in Yaoundé. The order transferring them from the Special Criminal Court to Kundenge was signed late Saturday, Friday by the State Prosecutor Ngono Justine Eme. Babla Jonathan tells us more.
The list of former government officials held in the Kundenge Maximum Security Prison in Cameroon's political capital Yaoundé receives a new name. Edgar Alain Mebengo, former Minister Delegate at the Presidency in charge of Defense, former Minister of Transport, joined former Prime Minister Inoni Ephraim and others Friday night. He was remanded into custody by the Attorney General at the Special Criminal Court, Justine Ngunu. The Special Criminal Court began questioning Edgar Alain Mebengo and other persons involved in the Mark Force military equipment purchase embezzlement affair Tuesday. The questioning continued throughout the week till Friday. He goes down for the alleged embezzlement of over 195 billion francs CFA with three of his former collaborators, Maxime Lionambange, Treasury Inspector at the Ministry of Finance, Victor Emmanuel Meunier, Deputy General Manager of Société Camerounaise des Banques SCB, and Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Mbutu Ele Gislain Joel. They are charged for crimes allegedly committed between 2010 and 2014. In the meantime, such operations were conducted at Alain Mebengo's residence and one of his enterprises and some family properties seized. The former government minister's wife, Bernadette Mebengo, will be questioned by the Special Criminal Court after she recovers from the malaise she suffered following the search operations and confiscation of family properties.
Lawyers of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement's opposition political parties have presented the state of the legal process against the party's detained supporters, the health situation of detainees, and that of Barrister Michel Ndoki, a pillar of the CRM party. This was during a press conference organized in Yaoundé that was recently. For me, Armstrong Sanda reports.
Nous sommes rendus à presque 40 jours.
Lawyers of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement's political party say it is almost 40 days after the 26th February 2019 protest march of the party, where 203 party supporters and sympathizers were arrested between February 26 and February 28.
152 personnes ont été inculpées. Parmi ces infractions, la plus célèbre, l'hostilité contre la patrie. C'est une infraction qui est punissable de la peine de mort.
According to Barrister Sylvain Soap, 37 out of 203 persons are facing flagrant charges at the Yaoundé Court of First Instance, and a ruling is expected on Monday, 11th of March 2019. 152 of them are being charged at the military court, among which is hostility against fatherland, which has a death penalty. The lawyers further stated that 130 of those tried at the military court are in prisons in Yaoundé, whereas none of them was issued a warrant of arrest. The CRM party lawyers say they introduced 146 files of habeas corpus and 7 were rejected on Thursday, March the 7th, while 126 are still under examination by the military court.
Nous avions saisi les autorités.
On the condition of detainees, the CRM party said their repeated demands to treat sick of their militants who were arrested did not receive a favorable and timely response, and some 24 sick cases developed among militants and sympathizers who are currently being detained in Yaoundé. Barrister Hippolyte Meli revealed that several supporters have been refused food by the prison administrators since February.
Le rapport de la police.
The party also refused reports that Barrister Michel Ndoki was trying to escape Cameroon when she got arrested in Idina West Coast Subdivision, Southwest region of Cameroon, stating that Michel Ndoki presented herself at an official checkpoint in Idina. The party described her arrest as kidnapping.
On doit se cagouler. Mais c'est ça qu'on appelle le kidnapping. Parce qu'ils ont fait exactement comme les Boko Haram.
Still talking about the CRM political party issue, the human rights, a network of human rights defenders in Central Africa, REDAC, has called on the liberation of Professor Maurice Kamto and other supporters of the CRM party. REDAC says the arrest is illegal because it violates international laws. To REDAC, the military court is in no way competent to judge the accused. The non-governmental organization instructs the Cameroonian government to comply with the African Charter on Human and People's Rights by brandishing its obligation of the international human rights conventions and treaties it ratified. REDAC therefore says it is adamant to its request the immediate release of Professor Maurice Kamto and the other 145 people arrested during the peaceful protest of the party. We now talk about the celebrations that mark the International Women's Day in its 34th edition. Women in the Manjo community, that's in the Mungo division of the Littoral region, say they will not stop praying for those in the northwest and southwest regions of the country affected by the armed conflicts. While celebrating Women's Day, the Manjo women reiterated their wish for peace to return in the two English-speaking regions of the country. They equally called on women to stand against violence against women, discrimination as well. More in this report. Women in Manjo subdivision in the Mungo division of the Littoral region celebrated Women's Day without forgetting their fellow Anglophone women in tears and in bushes as a result of the armed conflict.
Qu'en ce moment nous fêtions pendant que de ce côté-là d'autres femmes pleurent.
She says, though took part in the celebration, she accompanies women in the northwest and southwest regions by praying for them.
Et nous espérons que le calme reviendra très rapidement.
Women in Manjo also used the opportunity of March 8 to shun all forms of violence against women, fight against peanut salaries, and stand for economic autonomy of women.
Les femmes devraient manifester leur opposition à la violence faite aux femmes.
Equality, which they desire, they note has been denied them. Discrimination is highlighted.
Au Cameroun, par exemple,
she says, in Cameroon, equality is still a far-fetched dream. That out of 360 subdivisions, only 28 women are mayors, making 7.77%. Out of 14 city councils, no woman is a government delegate. The march past in Manjo saw most women show up without the Women's Day fabric, a situation attributed to poverty due to the unfavorable socio-political atmosphere of the country.
Le commerce, il y a les commerçants qui sont déjà à bout de souffle.
Some of these women suggest the institution of a fabric that could be used for several years.
Mais on peut porter un paille même 2 ans.
That is a fabric without a date or edition.
Women, of course, of Maneas Manjo.
And in sports, we present to you results of round 8 matches of the National League One Championship that played today. Out of 7 matches of the League One Championship, 5 ended in draws with 2 victories. Avion bounced to Colombe 0-1. Union of Douala defeated Cotton Sport of Garoua by 1-0. Tonnerre Calara separated on a 0-0 draw with PWD of Bamenda, same as Unisport of Bafang and AS Fortuna that separated on a 1-1 draw. Equally, Edin Sports drew with Stade Renard 1-1, as well as Fuvu Football Club and Future FC. Young Sports Academy of Bamendo held a 1-1 draw with Astro. And meantime, the match between Dragon and Apeges will be played on Monday. And meantime, delay round 8 matches of the National League 2 Championship equally played today. AS Etouameki and Dynamo clashed together, and Dynamo defeated AS Etouameki 2-0, while Young Blessé defeated Racing by 3-0. Panther and Kanong equally played with Kanong defeating Panther. That's 3-2. And that's it for this edition of the 8 p.m. bilingual newscast. Thanks so much for watching. We do wish you a splendid evening. Julien Bert, bonsoir à vous.
Très bonne soirée à vous, Innocent Azé. Mesdames et messieurs, c'est la fin de cette édition bilingue du journal. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres.